World changer, history maker.
Hello creatives! I hope you're having a great day so far and are excited for this visual arts lesson. In the previous visual arts lesson, you created a minimum of 5 actual textures on top of your concertina book using a variety of materials, and another word for materials is media. This means your concertina book is a mixed media artwork. Can you explain what a mixed media artwork is? Give it some thought. It is an artwork that uses more than one medium or material. Can you explain why your concertina book artwork is a mixed media artwork, providing at least 2 examples of different materials that you used? If we look at the concertina book that I made, I can see cardboard, string, paint, sellotape, and other media, so more than one medium was definitely used in this artwork. If I had just used paint on cardboard or just drawn with pen on cardboard, then it would not be a mixed media artwork because only one material or medium was used. In this lesson, you will be attaching your 2 implied texture drawings of the tree bark and my cat's fur, as well as the rubbings drawing to one side of your concertina book. Remember, the actual textures are on one of your sides and the drawings are on the other side. So you'll attach them to the side that doesn't have your actual textures on it. The objectives for today's lesson are: identify whether actual and or implied texture has been used in an artwork, discuss how the use of texture attracts the viewer's attention to the artwork, and arrange and attach implied textures onto the concertina book to make your artwork visually appealing. Before we get started, let's take a look at an artwork from the Zeitz Mokke, the Museum of Contemporary Art Africa. You have already answered a question about the artwork in this lesson. Do now question. Talia is an art educator at the museum, and her and I are now going to discuss the artwork, and then you will discuss how actual texture is used in the artwork to attract the viewer's attention to it. And you'll do this with the learner sitting next to you, so that you can practice looking at artworks and talking about how texture is used in them.
Okay, so this artwork with the hanging bottles is called Divider, and it's by an artist called Lungispe Kunta.
And the materials, if we look at them, they're quite, we all know what they are, right? So we've got, is it rope?
It's actually fabric that's been tied in a
fabric.
certain way to look like rope.
All right.
And then you've got beer bottles.
Yes, and they've kind of been, you have beer bottles hanging from pieces of rope, and some of them they're hanging at different heights. There's quite a lot of beer bottles hanging right at the bottom of the fabric, or the, well, how should we call this? So the plaited fabric,
yes.
that looks like ropes. So the materials that we're looking at are quite they're noticeable. We know what they are. We know that it's beer bottles. We know it's glass, and then we also know that these are pieces of fabric or potentially rope. Like I thought it was rope, but when I look closer, like Talia said, it's actually fabric. So the materials themselves are known to us, or most of us would know what these are.
And we can imagine we know exactly what they feel like. We know what glass feels like. We know what fabric feels like. We know what rope feels like. So we don't have to imagine what those textures are.
Yes, so there's no implied texture in this artwork because the artist doesn't need to try and make it look like the artwork has certain textures, because actually actual texture is what we are seeing here. So we've got the actual texture of the glass, so the hard surface of the glass, and then we have the soft fabric that has been plaited into these ropes. So the actual texture that we're looking at actually contrasts one another quite a lot, because the hard surface of the glass is very different to the softer texture of the fabric that's been plaited into the ropes.
And if you talk about texture, they also contrast because the glass is actually quite fragile. If the glass had to fall off the rope, it would shatter. but the rope is strong and holding up all the bottles. So there's also contrast in that way.
I hope that you have a great lesson.